Am I the a-hole for exposing my mom's lifelong grudge against me because I was born on the wrong day? I'm 21 male, the middle child of 5 siblings. And I always knew my mom treated me very differently from the rest of my siblings. It caused my parents' marriage to end because my dad made it very clear he wouldn't tolerate her being so different with me. This was after he tried to figure out why she was so different with me. A few close family members knew and said it was PPD from when she had me, that apparently only affected her ability to bond with me and not any of my 4 siblings, just me, the middle kid. I have a sibling 1 year younger than me and she bonded with her just fine. I was a teenager when I got into a fight with mom one day and she accused me of always hating her and never wanting her to be happy. I asked what the fuck she meant by that and she told me that I had to come on the one day she had other plans, that it was bad enough I was overdue when I was born, but I prevented her from reading a book that released that day that she'd made plans to read months in advance. She told me I just had to be born that day so she was too tired to read it on the release day and she was weeks behind. She said I couldn't even be born normally like my siblings and I was a C-section baby. She told me it fucked her plans so bad and I never seemed to care. Then she mentioned how much I cried when she was around and how good I did with dad. She said I made her seem like such a monster and none of my siblings were like that. She told me I clearly always wanted to come between her and dad. She was pretty serious about it too. She said I started fucking her over the day I was born. It really shocked me when she told me all this. At first I didn't want to believe it. Dad and I even did a DNA test around that time because we were like, maybe she's making up a dumb reason so we won't know she cheated, but I'm definitely dad's kid. DNA confirmed it. My relationship with mom is as bad as the day I was born apparently, and I get a hard time from some family friends and extended family members who see me not being close with my mom as me being shitty to her for no reason. They put the bad relationship on me, and at my grandparents' house on Saturday I got so tired of the comments and mom sneering at me the whole time, I exposed what she said to me when I was a teenager and the blame she put on me being born the wrong day for our bad relationship. Mom half admitted it because she got so angry she verbally lashed out at me. It created a shit show and some family members think I made a big deal out of nothing, but others were disgusted with mom. I was told I was wrong to expose her like that. Mom told me I had no business doing that. So I ask, am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. She hated you, her own child, for something you couldn't control. That is bizarre and absolutely wrong from her. I'm sorry that you have someone like that as a mother, and I hope you have at least a parent figure in your dad. Do not give 5 cents about anything your mother says anymore. She doesn't deserve that you care about her.
My dad is great. He did his best to make sure I didn't suffer as much from mom's attitude toward her. His only regret is he couldn't keep me from her entirely, but that was never going to happen and I know that.
Not the a-hole. Born on the wrong day? That's a new level of ridiculousness. You did the right thing exposing her.
Yep, and all because of a book too, which only adds to the insanity of this.
This totally reads as though it's a Harry Potter book. I'm really bloody sorry that she hated you for being born on the wrong day. You are in no way, shape, or form in the wrong. I'm sorry she has mistreated you like this for decades for not being able to read a book on its release date. You deserved better.
Came here to say this. The whole time I was reading the post, I thought that it's Harry Potter.
Order of the Phoenix came out in 2003. OP is 21. The math checks out.
At this point you're an adult. Sorry you had a crappy childhood because your mom is insane. If it would help, I would go no contact with your mom, and keep contact with your siblings and of course your father. You now know the truth, which is possibly the harshest thing a parent can say to a child. But at least now you know she blames you from the moment you were born that you ruined her life over a book. That must be a hell of a book. If it's bothering you, go to therapy. If not, don't even talk to your mom anymore. Don't go to events where she's at. Don't invite her to life events, and try to keep in contact with your siblings. The family that is on your side because it's true. Not the a-hole, but your mom needs serious therapy and help.
Am I the a-hole for telling my parent friend that she needs to cook and that is why her daughter isn't eating? My daughter has a best friend since kindergarten. They are in 7th grade. This year Sarah has gotten quite thin and her mom has come to me saying she isn't eating. My daughter backed this up and said that she picks at her food at school. I thought it was an eating disorder at the time and told my friend to take her to the doctors. My friend needed to leave for a work trip this week and asked me to watch over her. No big deal, she will stay over for the week. First night I made meatloaf and she ate it. She didn't get sick. The rest of the week anything I made she would eat no issue. She even came back for seconds most meals. At the end of the week she asked me when my food didn't make her sick. Apparently she only eats TV dinners at home which make her feel like crap. The school food also sometimes makes her sick so she is cautious about it. My guess is there is an allergen in preservative foods. She needs to get that checked out. I dropped her off and pulled my friend to the side and told her everything. I told her that she really needs to cook and take her to get her allergy checked out. She was not happy I said this and basically called me a jerk for overstepping. Am I the a-hole? Should I apologize?
Not the a-hole, she isn't eating because the TV dinners are making her sick. The solution is her not eating those TV dinners. That means mom has to cook. Mom got defensive because she knows she is being a generally crappy parent in this aspect. She can batch cook, crock pot cook, meal kit cook, or find fresh pre-made meals. She cannot just let her kid starve or be ill all the time. Can you send food with you, daughter, during the week so the kid has a dinner that night? Edit also, the friend came to OP for advice. She literally asked OP for her opinion.
It's insanely easy to avoid proper cooking nowadays. I hate cooking, I just buy lots of frozen food that I can stick in the oven or air fryer. It takes like 30 seconds of effort to heat some salmon, microwave some rice or quinoa and do some frozen veg. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. It's not like the only options are TV dinners or a meal that took 4 hours to prepare. There's so much room in between for reasonable compromise.
Not the a-hole, you fed her daughter, which is a standard part of caring for her. And the poor girl learned that home-cooked meals don't make her sick. Let's give mom the absolute benefit of the doubt. Sounds like a single mom who maybe doesn't have a lot of time for cooking. How about you have Sarah over once a week or so and teach her some basic cooking? It's not great, but it's a step in getting her to put some weight back on, which is the biggest priority.
Not the a-hole. You got a good dose of what's going on with the kid while she was with you. You know she has no problem eating your food, but gets sick from the food she eats at home and some of the food she eats at school. It's pretty clear there's some kind of allergy or intolerance here. Maybe you could have not said you should cook, and just mentioned there may be an allergy to something in the food she's eating at home that maybe should be checked out by a doctor, especially as it also affects her at school. But it also seems pretty clear this is something specific to the more processed foods. School meals are going to be a bit of a mix, but she's only eating ready meals at home, and she's fine with home-cooked meals with little to no processed ingredients. I think it's pretty clear you had the best of intentions here, and your friend just took it too personally. It's possible she doesn't know how to cook proper meals or is exhausted at meal times or something, and you saying you should cook has made her feel like a failure. Let her calm down a bit, then contact her again. Explain that you simply think her daughter has an allergy or intolerance to something in these ready meals that crosses over into some of the food the school provides, and you didn't mean to make her feel bad for not cooking every night. That you suggested cooking because it would ease or stop her daughter's symptoms even without a diagnosis. Put the emphasis on finding out if her daughter has an allergy or intolerance, rather than cooking meals, and hopefully she'll feel less defensive about the whole thing. It might even get her to open up about any struggles she's having in this area, like not knowing how to cook or being exhausted, so you can offer help and support. Hopefully this is a mother trying her best and feeling defensive because it felt, to her, like you were blaming her for her daughter's issues. Obviously you aren't, just pointing out that there's obviously a medical reason the kid isn't eating at home and school.
Am I the a-hole for telling my husband he's too broke to be so sexist? So my husband comes from a traditional family. Mom's a stay-at-home mom, father was sole provider. I come from the opposite. My mother pretty much forbade from ever being financially dependent on a man and drilled that into me early on. My husband worked hard to unlearn the values he saw replicated at home. He, often more than, pulled his weight at home, was an engaged and present father and a genuine partner. The one thing that grinds my gears is how much weight he puts on the opinions of his family. I get that we all want our parents to be proud of us, but this is too much. My in-laws are staying with us for 2 weeks. Our usual MO is, I prep breakfast, we all eat lunch at work school, and my husband makes dinner. We have a cleaner, but she's on holiday, so in the meantime we're DIYing the cleaning where it's down to everyone to keep their space clean and common spaces we all clean. This is how we've always done it, and it works. My in-laws hate that I'm one of those modern women. They hate that I work, they hate that I don't find my purpose in being a wife and mother, and they hate that my husband pulls his weight at home. We spoke pretty frankly early on, where I established my boundaries and told them I won't be chastised about how I live my life in my home. When I am a guest in their home, I accommodate their ways and play the daughter-in-law they wish I was. They have for the most part respected this. I got home yesterday after work tired and starving. I typically get home 15:30 and we eat at 1900. I said quick hellos and ran up for a pre-dinner shower. When I came down, I went to the kitchen to help set up for dinner and found nothing ready. I asked my husband about it, but he wouldn't look at me, and his mother answered that he hadn't cooked anything. She told me I needed to do my duty as a wife and cook for my family. My coward of a husband still wasn't looking at me. I just walked away and ordered takeaway. I dished up for me and my kids and we sat at the table to eat. My husband and his parents served themselves and joined us. My mother-in-law was still going on about what was wrong with me and why I was a failure. I asked my husband if he had anything to say. He said his mother had a point and it wouldn't hurt if I acted more like a proper woman and took better care of my home and children. He said tradition was tradition for a reason, and it was kind of insulting that I thought I was too good for how he was raised. This is where I might be the a-hole. I told him tradition won't allow a man on $35K to support a family of 5, and he was too broke to be so sexist. He looked hurt and I saw tears welling in his eyes. He excused himself from the table. I regret saying this in front of our children, but him saying that to me after I'm busting my ass to clean up his mess on top of having to deal with his parents was too much for me. Am I the a-hole?
Sucks the kids were there for it, but he deserved worse. Not the a-hole. Should have ordered only enough food for you and the kids.
I too was surprised that she ordered enough for mother-in-law and hubby.
Not the a-hole. Your husband was indeed a coward. He has been a willing participant in your marriage all along and has gamely contributed to the agreement you have that works for you both. It was incredibly hurtful of him to not uphold his own decisions nor defend his wonderful partner of a wife to his parents. When the shit hit the fan, he failed to hold up, and that's a really sad realization for you. What you said might have been hurtful and cutting, but it was the truth, and only came out because he said, also in front of your children, that you weren't a proper woman and didn't take adequate care of your home and children. Frankly, he needed to hear it. How can he think you should be more or better with all that you're already doing? Does he think it's really a valid option for you to just drop your work and career to be a homemaker? And how does he think that's gonna go for your family? It's absurdly impractical and makes him look like an imbecile to think it has merit. Hate to fall into old Reddit tropes, but it's gotta be therapy or divorce time, no? Definitely do the therapy route, because it sounds like he's like 85% bought in and working to be a better person, but that 15% reared its head when his parents came around, which might mean you need some firm boundaries against his parents. It's sickening that they abused their influence of him and used their time with him alone to turn him against you. If it were me, they would not be welcome in my home ever again, and I'd be seriously considering limiting their access to the grandkids as well, because they are poisonous against you.
Not the a-hole. I get you want to present a united front to the kids, but he said that about you in front of them, and that is not an idea you want taking root in your children's mind. He was banking on you bowing to pure family pressure to get away with this disrespect of you and your family's normal way of division of labor. He gambled and lost on that, and I am really proud that you did not bow down just because his parents were there or that the kids were in the room. Too many people let things like this slide so as not to upset the apple cart. This is all on him. He decided it was better for him and easier for him risk your feelings than stand up to his parents. He chose to upset you versus upsetting his mother. I honestly would not have let them have any of the takeout food. I would have probably taken my kids and left to have dinner with just me and the kids.
Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I don't want to care for her kids? I, 20 female, have a sister, 16 female, and 2 half-siblings from our mom's new marriage, 3 male, and an infant sister. My mom insists on my help with the youngest siblings, constantly, without notice. She wants me to babysit, or feed them, or give them baths. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it's overboard. For context in my reactions, I have autism, high-functioning Asperger's. The situation, today she asked me to give them baths, I did. It was hard because of my sensory issues and the fact they were both screaming bloody murder in my ear over wanting my mom to give them baths instead. It was okay though, I pushed through, got them dressed through the screaming. Then I left them in the living room with her and started to go back to my room. She asked if I could hold the baby a little longer. I did, but she was screaming and crying still, so it was hard. The only time she'd calm down was if my mom held her, and she didn't want to because she was getting ready to leave for an AA meeting. At this point, I was extremely overstimulated. I was standing sort of rigid, but still holding the baby acceptably, I thought. She began to yell at me, saying I wasn't holding her with the right body language, and if I held her like I cared about her, she wouldn't cry. I told her she's probably crying because she wants to be held by her mom, separation anxiety, because no matter how much I coddled her before, she still cried. This is a consistent thing that's happened since my sister started going to daycare. Maybe I am a bit rigid after being screamed at, but still I don't feel like my body language was the issue. My mom eventually got fed up and told me to put her in the feeding chair, so I did and started to walk back to my room. She then started to rant on about how she still needs my help with watching them longer and how I don't care about my brother and sister. She said she shouldn't have to ask for help. It didn't even occur to me that it was assumed for me to stick around and watch them because their father is home. All she asked was that I give them a bath, then hold the baby, and I did that. This escalated into an argument in which I told her that her children aren't my responsibility, especially not at 20 years old. And while I don't have a problem helping out sometimes, I'm not her employee and both can't, because of autism, and won't, because I wouldn't want to if I could, predict what she wants from me in order to wait on her hand and foot. I do live at home for free, so it could be entitled of me to be so averse to helping her with them. I do other things. I'm the only one in the house who cleans regularly, every other day, and that's easy for me as it doesn't involve any crazy variables and never changes. But I do not want to help with my siblings the amount she wants.
Not the a-hole, I would seriously look at finding a way to move out. Has your ASD been formally diagnosed and documented? If so, you should qualify for some disability resources. In my state, each county has an aging and disability resource center that we can call to find out what sort of services, funding, housing is available. They can also help you find out if you qualify for SSDI if you aren't able to work.
It has. I'll look into this. It scares me a lot though, the massive change that moving would be.
It would be a huge change, but it would also be peace. You can set up your space the way you want, the way that works best for you. And no one will tell you that you can't have it this way. You must do it that way, or rearrange the things you've already arranged. I think you'll be surprised how freeing it is and how much it will help your mental health, even if it's a bit of a rocky transition getting there.
Not the a-hole, their dad can help out.
Heck, their dad can parent.
Not the a-hole, you are not the parent. I think you need to ask yourself some questions about your future though. Are you going to school? Do you work? Are you going to live independently in the near future? If not, you are a dependent of your mom and stepdad, and they aren't unreasonable to expect you to contribute to the household. Given your issues, childcare is not the best choice. Can you sit down and calmly work out contributions that accommodate your issues? Doing all the cleaning? How are you at cooking? Grocery shopping? If you are relieving other burdens on your mom, she might find parenting easier. However, while I think you need to figure out your adult role, your mom has no business expecting you to raise her younger kids.
I go to college full-time and am applying for part-time jobs right now. I do all the cleaning in our house and grocery shop from time to time, but I will sit down with her and try to figure out alternatives. When I've asked to do other things, instead of watch the kids, she gets irritated, but I've only asked once so things could change.
Do try talking to your mother again, preferably when things are calm. It's reasonable for her to expect you to help out, but she should try to be flexible as to how you help out. Also, why is it better for you to be giving the kids a bath rather than their father? In case you don't know, sometimes kids just cry. I doubt your body language was making it worse. My Aspie son hated the sound of screaming babies when he was a screaming baby, so I understand.
Not the a-hole. Can you get out of the house a bit more, like to work, the library, a walk around the neighborhood? You aren't the parent and these kids aren't your obligation. I'd keep telling her that. There is nothing wrong with gently placing her children in front of her and walking away. Or place them in front of their father and walk away.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.